Hey there, it's Sherri Johnson, and we are live today on our podcast episode. This is going to be an exciting one. I am so excited. I've got Tina Caul here from EXP Realty out of North Carolina, and she is going to be this is the best. I'm so excited. Hi, Tina. Thanks for
Hi,
joining.
Sherry. I'm excited too.
So great to have you. When you meet people in life, and I interview a lot of people and I meet a lot of people all over the country, especially over the last 8 or 10 years coaching, consulting. I met Tina. Actually, I saw her on stage first, and I said, I have to know this woman. And I have to tell you, it was then I met you in Dallas. I saw you in Cabo first. Got to actually meet you in person in Dallas. Didn't realize we were the same height, which I love. And you have the energy, the take charge. I so appreciate the unapologetic approach because I'm very much the same way. And there's so many great things of lessons you've done. You built this amazing team. You are literally one of the top teams in the country. We are going to talk about a lot of things today. The first thing I want to ask you, though, is not only how did you start your career? I know you took a team approach. You wanted to leverage your time. You were burnt out selling a lot of houses as a solo agent. The journey between joining EXP, and I love this moment of your life. I've watched some of your videos about how you wanted to leverage your time, and then you actually built this amazing team, and now you've got unbelievable other businesses. But how did you decide to scale? How did that go? I know there were successes and almost the be careful what you wish for because it's so big and so amazing and so fantastic. Tell us about your life, your company, how you started, and where we want to start. It would be great. So go for it.
All right. Well, I always caution everyone. I say, I never had the vision for this, but when you think about it, everything big starts small. We all start at the exact same step, which is getting our real estate license. And then the road can go so many multiple different ways. And what I find is the path to self discovery is probably the best path, meaning doing it all over again, I would have studied more about myself. I would have done more self assessments. I would have probably talked to more leadership coaches in the beginning to understand self leadership, and then going into building businesses, because businesses are a whole other set of tools and skills that you need. So the first 7 years of my career started in Michigan. I was 23, market crashed. I was going to leave the business. I gleaned everything that I knew off the people in my office. I would literally hold my head up to their ear and be like, what is Tom Booz saying to this client? That was my training. And so so then from there, market crashed and I met my magical fairy, Mike Ferry. And that taught me, oh my God, there is a world where people think bigger and they are dressed nice and they treat this like a job and they have systems and processes. I am an analytical. I thought I was just a high D. I'm like an analytical and a high D. And so I needed to drive through the pain, but I wanted the process. Show me how to do it and I will do it excellent. Like I want to always be excellent. I have very high standards for myself personally. And so when I met that crew, my coach, Kathy Anderson, said, well, what do you really want in life? And I was still living in Michigan, 20, 28, 29 years old. And I said, well, I want to live where the wind doesn't hurt my face for 6 months out of the year. And she goes, well, where would that be? I said, North Carolina. I grew up going there. My uncle lived there. It's beautiful. She said, when? And I go, what do you mean when? She goes, well, it's a goal. When are we going to do it? When are we moving? I had a 3-year-old at the time. I said, next year? She's like, okay, let's set the plan. Wow. Like to have a coach make you set a plan for your dreams.
Uh-huh.
Did. And within 1 year, my husband and I got him out of the car business, uh, signed my son up for preschool in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we found ourselves in 2009 in the middle of a complete crash in the market, coming to a new town. And I took my skills from Mike Ferry and I adapted those to the new market. And in 4 years, I was selling 130 homes a year personally. And that's when the wheels fell off, Sherri, where I was like, okay, I can't sustain this. I need a better plan. And that's when I started to invite agents into my team. I had a couple agents who stayed with me 11 years, 10 years. But we just slowly went into the vision of building a team. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to build this big team. It was a slow transition. And eventually by 2019, I was burning out, still selling 100 homes. I had 7 agents on my team. And thank God for my sponsor at our company. She forced me to look at this model. And when I did look at EXP, I saw the tool that could give me different ways to operationalize my business. And I saw a vehicle that I could leverage and say, gosh, I could monetize my brain. I could help others by coaching and training and gift them the knowledge that I wish I had. And here we are today. I have the team of 50 agents, 1,550 agents at EXP, and we've done the thing as far as the leverage that we were looking for.
That is awesome. And it's funny. I remember my person was Suzanne Gallman, and I sat in the bullpen and I wrote down every word she said. Like, you brought me back to literally almost 30 years ago, listening to those people and saying, I want to be them. And I love the fact that, yeah, it doesn't happen. It's not like out of necessity you at 130 homes as a solo agent. That's unbelievable. That's amazing. And I love that you did what your coach told you to do. That's half the battle, right? Is just doing, not being afraid
Yeah.
and doing it anyway. I know you built, so you have 1,550 people in your EXP organization, which, how long have you been at EXP?
I just crossed over 6 years.
It's amazing. And your team is organized. I've met several of your amazing leaders, your sales managers. Tell people who are looking, women especially, and the guys too. But when someone's sitting there thinking, how do I scale? How do I do what you just did? And whether it's at a rainmaker level or a smaller size team, what advice do you give to agents out there that are saying, wow, I really want to start a team? Because in coaching, we actually ask a lot of questions to make sure you're making the right decision. Managing people, leading people, it requires leadership skills. A lot of teams fail. We know that they aren't profitable. And I think people thought it was really cool to have a team, and then they jumped in and did it, some of them, without really thinking it through. So what advice from your trials and tribulations and mistakes and successes do you give to people, or would you give to people listening?
So I would say first and foremost, do not build a team if you're just wanting to replace the work that is being done currently to hopefully make enough income where you never have to work. You're going to work harder in a different capacity, but you're going to work harder on your mindset, on your physical fitness, and in your business. I thought selling 130 homes every year by myself was hard. That was child's play. I just was exhausted, but I didn't know how hard I would have to work in this realm. And so what I look at is the building of the team is hard. The building of the downline was much easier and much more lucrative. So if I had that option back then, I would have done it. But in order to build a great community, you also have to learn how to lead. And so what I would say is if I was building the team over again, these are the few things I would do. Number one, I would study all of the Pat Lencioni books and the John Maxwell leadership books. 5 Dysfunctions of a Team,
Yep.
right? I always laugh and say, I need to call Pat and tell him I found 4 more dysfunctions that were not in the book. Discover them. Because there is dysfunction when you work with other humans. So that would be one. Number 2 is I would add in, as you're recruiting people, you have to be very invested in the people, getting to know how they operate. Just like when you say, I'm going to go meet a client. Are they a high D, a high I, a high, you're trying to understand your client. Well, guess what, guys? Your agents are now your clients, and you have to understand, how do they show up? How do you need to show up for them and be versatile versus the one size fits all box that we try to put them in? So I would use the working genius, the disc, and the strengths finder, understanding your people, and become obsessed with understanding them. the next thing I would do is figure out what your unified sales curriculum is, because what I find is a lot of team leaders don't have systems and processes to learn and educate and do it the same way every time. So think of yourself as a pilot, you bringing in new pilots and saying, you're going to fly the plane, which is called real estate. Here, do it this way and follow this system. So what is your system that you're unified in delivering? And then I would think of like having standards. You gotta have standards. This is all the mistakes I made, everybody. These are why I know these things, because I made all the mistakes by not having them. But having your standards, when you said, Sherri, I admire that you're like, you said something about me, like you're tough and you just do whatever. That was
Apologetic. Yeah.
non-apologetic. I was very apologetic when I was a manager and I first started. I wanted everyone to like me. I didn't want to give them too much tough love. I swear to you, I was a terrible manager. And now I'm like, no, love is accountability. Feedback is love.
Yes.
Like all of those things that I made a mistake. So I would say have a standard, decide not that you want to build the Sherri Johnson team or the Tina Caul team. Who are you? What are your 5 core values that you are like, these are just not, these are my core. And that is what your team is going to be built on. And then you're saying, hey, this is who I am and what I believe. For the people that believe the same things, let's build this together, because there's going to be people that come into your world that do not have the same alignment with you, and they need to leave your world pretty quickly. And so that's another mistake I made. I was taking my set of ideals and values and then molding them to what everyone else thought. And I thought, God, if we're for everybody, we're for nobody. And so we became for what we believe in. And now I'm actually in that shift. The last 24 months, we're shifting our team to the actual standards and core beliefs. And we're being unapologetic about who we are. And we're asking the people that don't align with those to move on to a different adventure, just not our adventure.
Oh, I totally get it. You're doing 440 some $1 million now, 800 transactions a year. Culture is an interesting thing. And I ran, that company. I had 800 agents and about $2 billion. And I remember thinking, it's the team, it's the culture of the team that we're leading, and having the tough love of saying, you know what, I'll find somebody else who wants to be here, or step in line, do it this way, or don't. And I think culture spits people out. Like they either adapt to the culture and they're part of that, or they realize it and they self-select out of your team. I think you've probably experienced that. When you put you put all these people together, you built this amazing team. You have I know you have developed other streams of revenue. You talked about having a revenue share organization at EXP. For a lot of people listening, they don't know what that means. Can you share the revenue share model? Why is it unique? What is the difference between, making passive income, and why EXP model is so amazing? And as you know, I mean, I joined about 8 months ago, and I'm now part of the EXP family, which I love. But can you share with people why it's so unique, and this platform, and what it has given you? You talk about the 5 pillars of the platform, and revenue share being one of those.
Yeah. Well, I think, anytime we look at our business, if I had this amazing CRM and I was so excited about it and it changed my business, you would want to know about it. Yes.
Yeah,
Right. And so
absolutely.
as real estate agents, we exchange all of that info. Oh my God, Sherri, I found this great postcard company. Oh my God, Sherri, I found this great CRM. And what happened when I joined the company was, oh my God, you guys, verbal vomit. I found the best real estate company on the planet. And then all of a sudden, my friends and people around me were like, oh, we don't want to hear about it. We don't want to. And I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, I found this really great tool. And so I think, that was the early phases of EXP, because obviously people were EXPing all over everyone because they were just excited about, my God, you guys, for 150 years, we have never been in the driver's seat of our ownership of our business. And now we were invited to have a seat at the table, and I got to shout it from the rooftops. And so what this is to me is a tool that I put into Caul Group. So I've got Caul Group over here. I could go solo or I could be at a brokerage. I'm at a brokerage called EXP. The tool operationalizes my business. So what it does for me is, hey, Sherri, you're not a real great fit for my team for Caul Group because you're a solo agent and you want to go expand over here. But I would like to partner with you at this firm. You and I will become partners. I will be mentor or coach or whatever, or just friend. And I will help you and invite you into a circle of people that are entrepreneurially minded, that are growth minded, that want to take their business to the next level, to the next level, to the next level. And having a seat at our table, I promise you, if you tap in, you will get a result. Like if you fail here, you're not going to make it anywhere, is kind of my feeling, because we have everything possible known to man. So it's just a tool to get them to the next level, especially if they love people, if they love to coach and train, and if they're the got a minute girl and got a minute guy at their office, and they always have someone in their doorway going, hey, Joe, you got a minute? You would be perfect for this, because if you're giving those minutes away for free, here you get paid for the minutes, if that makes sense.
It does. And the model itself has transformed. I mean, we're at about almost 90,000 in less than 10 years growth and 16 total years. I think in October, 16 years for EXP. People are always shocked about that. Fully scaled. The company is amazing. It's profitable. It's debt free. What do you think? How have you, for those listening who are at EXP, what has been your success in attracting folks to? Is it mostly in your local market? Do you have people nationally, or both?
Both. So the thing that I started with was grow local, grow fast, meaning if I were going to open up an office, a Remax office, Century 21, Keller Williams, I would have to recruit locally. And so what I did was every week on Friday, I called it Freedom Fridays. I opened my doors and I had a mastermind. I said, hey, Sherri, join me. And I would invite a few people. And guess what? One or two people would show up. It wasn't 50, it wasn't 100. I wasn't putting events on. In fact, I hate putting on events. I'm not good at it. So I would invite those agents, one or two would show up. Then the next week, and we'd have a 1 hour mastermind. We would whiteboard stuff. I would teach them listing presentation, everything that was a secret in my business. I opened up the playbook and just gave. And it was like church. Every week there was one new person that came, and then they brought a friend, and then they brought a friend, and then they brought a friend. And so then they would come to me and say, hey, can I talk to you about joining the firm? And I'd say, no, this is not about that. We'll go to coffee later, but this is truly about giving back. So my superpower, Sherri, for 4 years straight was having that mastermind every Friday, never missing, and coming from contribution. I was not attached to the outcome. If you walked through my doors and you never joined our brokerage, I didn't care. But what I was going to do, what I was obsessed about, was I'm going to give you guys so much value that when your broker disappoints you, you think of me first. And that's exactly what happened. And I only brought in 1 to 2 agent partners a month. It wasn't like, and I am one of the top 5 recruiters at the company, and I would be fired at any Keller Williams office. It's not a recruiter. I am not a recruiter. I am a person that loves building communities.
What you just said, I learned this from my father at a very young age. He used to say, you have to add value and people will hire you for your services. He had a self-made company, didn't go to college. He's kind of like my version of probably your mom when I heard you tell stories. And he would say, when you add value, people will hire you. And then he would say, when you add a lot of value, people will pay more for what you're giving them too. And so those all go together today in real estate. I believe that this is about giving with no expectation. And so the attraction piece of it is, wow, we've got this dynamic agent giving away listing presentation secrets. I mean, who wouldn't want to come and hear you talk? You were selling 100 plus houses a year, 150 plus. Then you have this team. So that you still do that. I think I spoke at a Freedom Friday, didn't I? Did I do it? I think I was on that. So do you still do the Freedom Fridays? Is that
We don't do the Freedom Fridays. We do a once a month all access pass, we call it. Everyone's invited. And we just do a mini conference. It's like 10 to 1. And we have lunch and we break bread, and that keeps everyone local, because we have like 400 local that are in my organization. But the other thing I forgot to touch on, Sherri, that's very important. I was a secret agent. I was a secret community builder. I did not want to be on social media at all. 6 years ago, my social media was terrible. But I realized, okay, if I'm going to go and preach to the choir that this is the best company and we're here to help and open our playbooks, I have to get on social media. So I did every day. I would post a video or something on YouTube, and once a week on YouTube, and once a day on Instagram. And I had to get out of my own way. I hated video, but now I love it. I think it's fantastic. And
It's so funny to hear you say that because you're so good at it. I mean,
I
you,
practiced.
it's a really, everyone listening who says, can't do it, I can't do it, you're doing it and you look like you've always loved it, actually. And I know it's definitely spreading the word. So if you're an agent today, and you're frustrated, the market is every year it's a different market. We're just in a different market every year, but we're not really. I mean, it's kind of an interesting place to be. It's kind of like 2017 right now, 2008, and it's not 2021, thank God. What would you tell? I'm going to ask you for three things. One is, what would you tell an agent out there who is brand new licensed? They just, in the first couple months, I believe agents that have a listing or a sale in the first, like literally the first 30 days. That's just kind of my vibe. I know you probably feel that way. They don't know how necessarily, if they don't have a you or a me in their life. What would you tell a brand new agent? What would you tell an agent who is seasoned in years and needing help, needing a strategy, sort of might be in a slump, feeling depressed, may not be working with as many listings right now because they're working the buyer side and they want to get back to listing. What advice would you give both of those groups, new people and then agents that are seasoned, solo agents, trying out there just to keep it together and stay in the business? What advice would you give them?
Well, I would say to both of them, because they're both identical in a sense, meaning they both decided to become an entrepreneur. They decided to bet on themselves. And the definition of entrepreneur is somebody who takes greater than normal financial risk and, opens up one or multiple businesses. And so both of those people are entrepreneurs. If I ask both those, new agent and seasoned agent, hey, you're going to open up a restaurant today or a business, and we need to invest money. New agents don't invest enough money in their business. Seasoned agents also get cheap and don't invest in enough leverage. But if you're going to open a new business, how are we going to market this business? How do we know where you are and that you're open for business? Because both of them, their number one job as a business owner, new or seasoned, is every single day through social media, which is I call marketing media, because it's not meant to be social and just say hi and have a friend. It's to market now. And so what are both of them doing every day to drive the business customers to their business? And for me, new agent or seasoned, I bet you if I talk to anyone, every time I ask them, walk me through your day, they walk me through their day and I go, you don't have a job, you have a hobby. Nobody treats this business like a job, and they don't realize that the freedom comes through the discipline of the business. But then they say, well, I don't know what to do every day. Well, what should I do? Let me give you the perfect schedule of a true business owner. You get up early, 6 a.m., because you got to go to the bakery and bake the donuts, or go to the, whatever restaurant and open it up. You got to get to the office at least 7 o'clock, 7:30, and you role play every day with 5 different role play partners, because was my schedule. From 7 to 7:30, I'm saying, hey, Sherri, hit me with some objections. Lower your commission. I have a friend in the business. Your office is not in my area. I don't know. I want to think it over. There's about 40 objections in the entire business. Learn the answers.
I love it.
So then they would learn those answers. From then 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock, their job is to be on the phones. I don't care if it's social media. Go and DM people. Go make a video, for God's sakes. Do something that's going to move the business forward. 11 to 12, they're going to answer their phone, emails, text messages, whatever. 12 to 2, take a mindset break. Go have some lunch. From 2 to 7, you are out on appointments. And if you are not out on appointments, then you should be previewing property. And that is their schedule for a $200,000 a year producer every single day. If you can't figure out how to fill that morning gap, you don't have a job. You have a hope and a dream and no plan.
Hope is not a plan, and it's not a strategy. Hope is great.
Hope
but
is
it's
great.
not going to put deals on the board and it's not going to put appointments in your calendar. This is
Correct.
so great. And listen, if you can't, and you just said it, if you can't fill 8 to 11, I mean, right there, it doesn't get any more direct than that. And I love it. You have hundreds of people to call. I love when agents say, I don't want to call my sphere and I
Yeah.
don't want to make cold calls. And I say, who are we going to sell houses to? Like, you have to be engaging with people. Like, you
That's
have
it.
to be engaging with people. And
Or they could spend $1 million a year, which I have friends that have done that, to go buy every billboard for 700 miles from their house to their next town over. And then you've got to market and advertise and become the mayor of your town. So you're going to either buy the business or build the business.
I love that. I love that. Um, if you are someone out there who's thinking, I want to look at other brokerages, and we have a lot of that happening right now. People are, we call it doing the math. They're looking at the value they get from the brokerage they're currently at. Maybe they're paying a franchise fee. Maybe they're not getting coaching. Maybe they're looking at what is the actual value of the split. And a lot of times agents don't realize, and I'm sure you've come across this. I have conversations with people all the time, and they have what I call a forever split. There's no cap,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't realize that there are so many other ways, whether it's going to be at EXP or not, that's fine. But I think everyone owes it to themselves. What would you say to someone who's looking at where they are in their business life cycle? They're probably, maybe at the peak, maybe they're just starting. It doesn't even matter really where they are, but if they're looking at other options, what are like the 3 most important things that people should pick a brokerage to partner with? What would you say those 3 things would be?
From having, now thousands of, vision meetings and recruiting meetings, the big thing is agents will say to me, well, I'm at a flat fee $500 transaction company. And I'll say, well, you sold 15 homes, you paid 15,000. Who in your flat fee company do you look up to? Who are the top agents at your flat fee company? They never can pick one. There's not top agents at flat fee companies, because if I sell 100 homes at 500 a transaction, I'm spending 50 grand. I can't afford to work at a flat fee company as a top performer. So top performers do not go to flat fee companies. They go to companies that are vehicles for their business. So I love the cap. I know it's going to cost me 16,000 plus another, 5 if I become an icon agent here. And that is my investment. But the bigger thing is, again, going back to who are you growing to be in your company? If you are the biggest fish in your pond, that is a problem. That company is costing you money, costing you growth, costing you experience, costing you multiple revenue streams. Because I went from 1 to 14 in 6 years. That's because of the people that were around, the Sherri Johnsons that are these. I mean, imagine I get Sherri for free. I get you for free, Sherri. I could pick up the phone and be, Sherri Johnson, I have a problem. Okay, I can solve it. And we're partners in the business, right? We're here at this brokerage growing it together. And so I always say, what is it costing you to stay? What is it costing you? Because I don't care about the cost. Everything's an investment. Give me a return on that 15, 20 grand, and I'm all in. I was stuck at 70 million, Sherri, at Keller Williams, which is a great training company. I was the biggest fish in the pond. And so I was training all the agents, but nobody was training me. And for 3 years, I couldn't get above 70 million. My first year at EXP, 110 million. Then it was 200 million. Then by year 4, we were at 400 million. Why? The people. It was the mindset, the growth. So if I would have stayed going, well, but it's cheaper here, which I was getting a cheaper split, that would have cost me millions and millions of dollars. But more than that, leadership growth, like my mindset growth. And so I think I never look at the math and the numbers. Yes, I want it to wash out. But if I go with these people, can these people take me to the vision of the life that I want? Have they done it first? And then can they model it and show me a plan? If the answer is yes, I believe in myself enough to follow it and do the work.
Yeah, and you just said it. It's the opportunity cost. Like, are
That's it.
you at a place that's A, holding you back, and B, costing you the opportunities that you're not taking? You're plateaued. you know, so many people, I think I was one of them. I was, where I was, I paid a lot of money in my agent split. I also, at the time, thought where you are, when you're there, you should feel that's the best place that you were. And I believe that. And I know that was a long time ago too. And it was a different model. And that's what was there in 1996 when I got licensed, which is now almost 30 years ago. Agents need what I find is the collaboration without the competition exists at a level here I've never seen. I've been coaching people all over the country and world for the last 8 years. I ran a huge company. I've never seen the collaboration without the competition, you guys. It's literally when one of us wins, we all win. And I don't say that as a platitude, it's real. And mastermind after mastermind that I've been to, an event, I just sit there thinking I'm overwhelmed with gratitude. I'm overwhelmed with, the abilities to, like you said, pick up the phone and call each other and get to be partners. That's what I think. I was just talking with someone about, they were asking me about coming here and, what role could they have coming from a very high executive level, job. And I said, we don't have that here. Like, you did that. You were awesome. I did it. We were all corporate, whatever. Here it's not titles. And they filled in the blank and they said, it sounds like it's partners. And I said, we're partners. And we have senior partners, and we have the people, as you mentioned, that have done it before, who will help you and hold the hand down to pull you up. I love that about this company. And it is so real. It is, you have to experience it. We have the ability, I think what a lot of people don't understand at EXP is there are no boundary lines. And we have, so how many people do you have outside of, you said you have 400 in the local market. The other 1,100 are in all countries and states.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're sprinkled everywhere. And those were attracted through, again, social marketing, media, and just wanting to be a part of what we were building, which has been awesome. But you touched on it, like you said before we wrap up. That's the final thought. It's so important to understand that for the last 100 years, we have been dog eat dog, competition, because every man for himself. And even though there were nice people at brokerages that helped us out, and I, helped people out, it still was, hold it back just a little. You kind of don't want everyone to do exactly what you're doing. And now, through financial incentivized leadership that Glenn was masterful at creating, he said, no, you're all partners and the company wins together. Here's the vision. Here's the ship. Let's all work towards that. And we will reward you for the growth. Now take a salesperson who's typically growth minded and they're like, how can I help? How can I serve? And that is the difference, which makes it a beautiful thing.
It really is. And it is incentivized partnership. I love however you just worded that. I also want to comment that you said multiple times, and I believe in this, betting on yourself. You sent me that really great quote about clarity. And it comes from taking action, not from, right. So if you're sitting there, whether it's you want to become, number one in your marketplace, or you want to go get 10 more listings, or you want to have 15 listings over $1 million, whatever that specific intentional goal is, you're listening to us talk right now, bet on yourself. We just heard Tina Caul say this. I know you are going to just continue to set the tone and lead and continue to lead this great company, both your own as well as the entire company. You're on the executive. I think you're part of the luxury program. Thank goodness you're a member of that. And I think a chair for that. I know we're going to do great things together. And I also appreciate you so much coming out, sharing your best practices and your mindset, because I know that people listening to today are going to get a treat and hear a lot of great advice from you. So how do people get a hold of you? And I think we've got that in. We'll list your channels, but is it Tina Caul?
Yep. Just Tina_Caul, social media. You'll find me. Now I'm kind of everywhere. I figured.
And I want to say, we didn't talk about AI today, but Tina's got amazing free giveaways that are just fantastic. One of them is how to train AI to your voice. That's a really great one, as well as just following her and getting inspired every single day. Thank you so much for opening up and, being my friend, being my partner. And now I can't wait to see you in a couple of, I guess, weeks now at this point at EXPCon. Guys, it's Sherri Johnson Show. Tina, I'm going to have you come back again. And I love your team. You have an amazing sales team. I think we're working with a few people now that I forgot to tell you about. We love Tina Caul, everybody. And I know everyone in Cleveland loves you with in Corvaya. They're over here in my neighborhood. So yeah, they're always telling me, oh, Tina Caul. So I want everyone to follow Tina, send your referrals to her team in North Carolina. She's going to take care of them. And listen, if you're at that point and you're saying, I don't know what to do, pick up the phone, call one of us, call someone in your marketplace, bet on yourself and make it the best listing and sales week that you can. And I love when you say figure it out, and you figured it out, because I did too. And we didn't get to talk about the figuring out thing, but I have to get that shirt from you. We are going to go far. We are going far. I love the phrase. I just heard this. I think Brent said it, right? Or we've all said it. I've heard it multiple times. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Did I get it right?
You got it right. You nailed
And
it. Nailed it.
I think I've been running like a lot of you, fast and furious, stealth mode by myself. It's not like that anymore. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see you. Thanks for being on the Sherri Johnson podcast. And everybody, make it a fabulous day. Tina, I'll see you in a couple of weeks, and stay tuned for our next episode. I'll see you soon. Thanks.